What if everything you've been taught about wealth is backwards? Most people believe money begins in the bank account. They think wealth starts when you get a better job, receive a promotion, launch a business, or somehow stumble upon the perfect opportunity. But Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years studying the most successful people in history, and he discovered something shocking. Wealth never begins in the wallet, it begins in the mind. Before Andrew Carnegie built an empire, before Henry Ford revolutionized transportation, before Thomas Edison changed the world with invention, they all had one thing in common. They became rich in thought long before they became rich in reality. This is where most people lose the game. They wait for evidence before believing in themselves. They wait for money before thinking abundantly. They wait for success before acting like successful people. But that's like waiting to feel strong before going to the gym. The truth is simple. Your external world is a mirror of your internal world. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, excuses, and limitation, no amount of money will ever feel enough. But if your mind is trained for discipline, vision, confidence, and persistence, wealth begins moving toward you naturally. Money is attracted to value, and value is created by a person who has mastered their thinking. So in this video, we're going to break down 5 powerful lessons from Napoleon Hill that explain why wealth starts in your mindset first, and how you can begin rewiring your thinking starting today. If you stay until the very end, you'll understand why some people remain financially stuck for decades while others seem to create opportunity from nothing. Because the difference is rarely luck, it's mindset. Watch closely. One idea from this video could completely shift the way you think about money forever. Lesson 1. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Napoleon Hill's philosophy hinges on the fundamental truth that achievement is not a byproduct of luck or even raw talent. It is the physical manifestation of an internal burning desire. Most people mistake a casual wish for true desire. A wish is passive, floating through the mind without requiring any sacrifice or sustained effort. A burning desire, however, is an obsessive emotional force that consumes the consciousness until a way is found to bring it into reality. It is the fuel that powers the human engine through the inevitable friction of life. Without this white-hot intensity, the first sign of opposition becomes an excuse to quit, and the dream dissolves back into the ether of what if. The distinction between wanting something casually and desiring it obsessively is found in the willingness to burn one's bridges. Hill often spoke of the general who landed his troops on an enemy shore and then ordered his men to burn the ships. By destroying the only means of retreat, he ensured that his soldiers had only 2 options, victory or death. This is the psychological state required for true financial achievement. When you decide that failure is no longer an option, your mind shifts from a defensive posture of self-protection to an offensive posture of creative problem-solving. You no longer ask if a goal is possible, you simply search for the method to make it certain. Most people claim they want wealth, but their daily actions reveal that they actually prioritize comfort, safety, and social approval. True desire is inconvenient. It requires you to wake up when you are tired, to study when others are being entertained, and to risk the judgment of those who are content with mediocrity. If your desire for financial freedom is not stronger than your desire for immediate comfort, you will remain stagnant. Wealth is a reward for those who are willing to endure the long night of effort that precedes the dawn of success. It is not enough to like the idea of being rich. You must be haunted by the necessity of it until you have no choice but to act. A person possessed by a true desire becomes a magnet for resources. This isn't mysticism. It is the physiological reality of the reticular activating system RAS in the brain. When you focus intensely on a specific outcome, your brain begins to filter out distractions and highlight opportunities that were previously invisible. You start noticing people, books, and ideas that can help you reach your goal. What looked like a wall yesterday looks like a ladder today. This resourceful state of mind is the hallmark of the high achiever. They don't wait for the perfect conditions, they create them through the sheer force of their will and their refusal to accept anything less than their objective. Ultimately, desire creates a singular focus, and that focus is what leads to mastery. In a world of infinite distractions, the ability to lock onto a single target and pursue it with relentless energy is a superpower. Every great empire, every massive corporation, and every life-changing invention began as a singular thought backed by an intense emotional craving. Before the gold can be held in the hand, it must be felt in the soul. You must be able to see it, touch it, and live it in your imagination until the physical world has no choice but to catch up with your internal reality. Ask yourself, is your desire a flickering candle or a raging forest fire? Lesson 2. Your beliefs shape your financial reality. The second pillar of Hill's philosophy is the understanding that our external financial reality is a mirror of our internal self-image. You cannot consistently earn $100,000 a year if you internally view yourself as a minimum wage person. Your subconscious mind acts as a thermostat. If your income rises too far above your self-image, you will unconsciously find ways to sabotage your success, spending impulsively, making poor investments, or alienating partners until you are back at the temperature you believe you deserve. To change your bank account, you must first change the identity of the person who owns it. Many people carry deep-seated limiting beliefs about money that were instilled in them during childhood. Phrases like "money is the root of all evil," "we can't afford that," or "rich people are greedy" act as mental viruses. If you believe that money is inherently bad or that wealth is reserved for a lucky few, your mind will protect you from becoming bad or lucky by ensuring you stay broke. Breaking these chains requires a radical re-evaluation of your internal narrative. You must realize that money is simply a tool, a neutral energy that magnifies who you already are. In the hands of a good person, wealth becomes a force for massive positive impact. Hill taught that faith is not merely a religious concept, but a psychological state of certainty that can be manufactured through autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the process of intentionally feeding your subconscious mind thoughts of success, wealth, and capability. By repeating affirmations and visualizing your success with emotional intensity, you overwrite the old self-limiting software of your mind. It may feel strange at first, like wearing a suit that is 3 sizes too big. But through repetition, your self-image expands to fit the new vision. You begin to walk, talk, and think like the person you are becoming, and the world begins to respond to that new vibration. The marketplace does not pay you for your needs, it pays you for your value. However, you cannot project value to the world if you do not value yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you are bad with money or that you never get a break, you are essentially giving your subconscious instructions to fail. Your mind is a faithful servant. It will fulfill whatever orders you give it most frequently. By shifting your internal dialogue to focus on your ability to create value, solve problems, and learn new skills, you shift your frequency from lack to abundance. You must become your own most enthusiastic cheerleader and your most disciplined mental gatekeeper. Your beliefs dictate your habits, and your habits dictate your life. A person who believes wealth is a result of disciplined action will naturally develop the habit of saving, investing, and learning. A person who believes wealth is a result of luck will waste their time waiting for a miracle. To build a lasting financial empire, you must cultivate the wealth consciousness. This is the unshakable belief that you are capable of generating wealth regardless of the current economy or your current circumstances. When you believe you are a person of value, you will eventually find or create the opportunities that reflect that value in your bank account. Lesson 3. Persistence separates dreamers from achievers. Persistence is the insurance policy of the successful. Napoleon Hill observed that one of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Most people are starters. They have great energy when a project is new and exciting, but very few are finishers. The road to wealth is paved with obstacles, rejections, and plateaus. Persistence is the quality that allows an individual to maintain their momentum when the initial excitement has faded and the results are not yet visible. It is the ability to keep walking through the fog, trusting that the destination is still there. Failure is rarely a permanent state unless it is accepted as such. In the mind of the achiever, a setback is not a signal to stop, but a piece of vital feedback. It is the universe's way of saying your current plan is flawed, refine it and try again. Every mistake is an education. Those who lack persistence see a no as a personal rejection or a sign that they aren't meant to succeed. Those who possess persistence see a no as a puzzle to be solved. They understand that the price of success is often paid in the currency of failure, and they are willing to pay that price until the debt is settled and the prize is won. The psychological toll of persistence is often what breaks people. It is easy to be motivated when you have a supportive community and visible progress. It is infinitely harder to stay disciplined when you are working in isolation, when your bank account is dwindling, and when friends and family are subtly or overtly suggesting that you get a real job. Persistence is emotional endurance. It is the quiet voice at the end of the day that says, "I will try again tomorrow." This stubborn refusal to give up eventually wears down the opposition. The world has a way of making room for the person who simply refuses to leave. One of the most profound stories in Hill's work is that of the gold miner who quit 3 feet from gold. After months of digging, he gave up because he hit a streak of hard rock. The man who bought his machinery hired an engineer to look at the fault lines and discovered that the gold vein was just a few feet away from where the first man stopped. This is a metaphor for the human experience. Many people give up just as they are on the threshold of a breakthrough. They endure 90% of the hardship but miss 100% of the reward. Persistence ensures that you stay in the game long enough for the law of averages to work in your favor. Wealth rewards the committed, not the interested. Interest is doing what is convenient. Commitment is doing whatever it takes. This means working on your business after an 8-hour shift at your job. It means reading a technical manual while others are watching television. It means making the 100th sales call with the same enthusiasm as the first. Persistence is not just about working hard, it is about maintaining your vision with such clarity that the external world eventually bends to your will. When you refuse to quit, you become an unstoppable force. Success is often just a matter of hanging on after others have let go. Lesson 4. Specialized knowledge creates economic value. In the modern economy, the phrase "knowledge is power" is a half-truth. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes actual power when it is organized into a definite plan of action and directed toward a specific end. General knowledge, no matter how vast or varied, has little value in the marketplace. You can be a walking encyclopedia and still be broke. Wealth flows towards specialized knowledge, the deep, nuanced understanding of a specific niche problem or industry. The world does not pay you for what you know, it pays you for what you can do with what you know. Our educational systems are largely designed to produce generalists, people who know a little bit about many things but lack the mastery required to command high fees. To build wealth, you must become a specialist. You must identify a high-value problem that people are willing to pay to solve and then become an expert at solving it. This requires a commitment to lifelong learning that goes far beyond formal schooling. Whether it is coding, complex litigation, real estate development, or high-stakes sales, the goal is to reach a level of competence where you are difficult to replace. The more replaceable you are, the less you will be paid. The wealthy understand the law of compensation, which states that your income will always be in direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty of replacing you. If you want to increase your income, you must increase your value by acquiring skills that are in high demand and short supply. This might mean spending years mastering a craft while others are seeking leisure. Specialized knowledge allows you to see patterns and opportunities that others miss. It gives you the leverage to produce results with less effort because you understand the mechanics of the system you are working in. Acquiring specialized knowledge does not necessarily mean you have to be a genius. It means being a connector. Napoleon Hill pointed out that Henry Ford was not highly educated in a traditional sense, but he knew how to surround himself with men who had the specialized knowledge he lacked. Wealth is often created by those who can organize and direct the knowledge of others. However, to do this, you still need the specialized knowledge of leadership, organization, and strategy. You must know enough to know who to hire and how to inspire them toward a common goal. In the digital age, specialized knowledge is more accessible than ever, but the discipline to master it is rarer. Most people skim the surface of a dozen different topics without ever diving deep into one. They are jacks of all trades and masters of none. By choosing one area, one vertical, and dedicating yourself to becoming the top 1% in that field, you insulate yourself from economic downturns. Specialized knowledge creates a moat around your career. When you are the best at what you do, the world will beat a path to your door regardless of the state of the general economy. Value is the ultimate currency, and specialized knowledge is the mint. Lesson 5. Master your environment and associations. The human mind is a highly sensitive instrument that is constantly being programmed by its environment. Whether you realize it or not, you are absorbing the attitudes, energy, and expectations of the people you spend the most time with. Napoleon Hill's mastermind principle is based on the idea that when two or more people work together in a spirit of harmony toward a definite goal, they create a third mind that is greater than the sum of its parts. Conversely, if you surround yourself with people who are cynical, lazy, or small-minded, their perspective will eventually become your own. You cannot fly with eagles if you are scratching with the chickens. An audit of your social circle is often the first step toward a financial breakthrough. This isn't about being elitist, it's about being protective of your mental software. If your 5 closest friends believe that the system is rigged and that success is impossible, you will find yourself constantly fighting an uphill battle against their influence. However, if you spend your time with people who discuss ideas, investments, and growth, those topics become your normal. You start to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. Your environment should challenge you to play a bigger game, not comfort you in your current limitations. Your environment extends beyond the people you talk to. It includes the media you consume, the books you read, and even the physical space in which you work. If you fill your mind with sensationalist news and mindless entertainment, you are feeding your subconscious junk food. If you fill it with the biographies of great achievers, technical journals, and philosophical texts, you are building a mental powerhouse. Every piece of information you take in is a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into the forest of your reality. You must be a ruthless gatekeeper of what you allow to enter your consciousness. The mastermind is not just about friendship. It is about strategic alliance. Successful people actively seek out mentors and peers who possess qualities they lack. They understand that no one achieves greatness in a vacuum. By forming a mastermind group, you gain access to a collective intelligence that can solve problems much faster than you could alone. You receive honest feedback, emotional support during tough times, and the accountability needed to stay on track. This synergy is the secret weapon of the world's most successful individuals. They don't try to be the smartest person in the room. They try to be in the room where everyone is smarter than them. Ultimately, your life is a reflection of the standards you tolerate. If you tolerate a toxic environment, you will live a toxic life. If you demand an environment of excellence, you will move toward excellence. Guarding your mind is a full-time job because the world is constantly trying to impose its limitations on you. You must intentionally design your surroundings to support your vision. Seek out the winners, the dreamers, and the doers. Read the books that expand your soul. Listen to the podcasts that sharpen your mind. Your future is being written right now by the influences you choose to allow into your life. Choose wisely because your life depends on it. At the end of the day, wealth is never just about money. Money is only the visible result. The real foundation is invisible. It is your thinking, your habits, your beliefs, your standards, your discipline, your willingness to persist when others quit. Napoleon Hill understood something timeless. Poverty is often first mental before it is financial. This doesn't mean a lack of money is caused by a lack of character. Real-world circumstances matter, but mindset determines how you respond to those circumstances and whether you remain trapped by them. Two people can face the same hardship. One becomes bitter, defeated, and passive. The other becomes focused, adaptive, and determined. The difference is internal. That is why wealth begins in the mind. Before money enters your life, opportunity must first enter your awareness. Before success becomes visible, it must first become believable. Before achievement becomes reality, it must first become identity. So stop waiting for your bank account to give you permission to think abundantly. Think abundantly first. Act with discipline first. Develop value first. Become the type of person capable of holding wealth. Because if you earn money without changing your mindset, you may lose it. But if you build the mind first, you can create wealth repeatedly. That is true power. Starting today, choose a different way of thinking. Refuse limitation. Refuse excuses. Refuse small beliefs. Train your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. And remember, the wallet only reflects what the mind has already accepted. If this message resonated with you, stay committed to your growth journey and keep applying these principles daily. Your future wealth is being built right now through the thoughts you choose to believe. See you in the next video.